Hello and welcome. Director Stephen Frears' provocative 1987 biopic, Prick Up Your Ears, about the life and death of gay playwright Joe Orton, was one of the most controversial movies of the 1980s. It stars a youthful Gary Oldman, best known presently for his role as the discarded old spy in Slow Horses, and who'd just gained international film notoriety for playing punk rocker Sid Vicious in Sid and Nancy. Clearly unafraid of controversy, Gary accepted Stephen Frears' challenge to play Orton, who tragically was savagely murdered by his lover in a fit of passionate rage. The movie, not surprisingly, drew mixed reviews and heavy criticism, particularly from sections of the British public, enraged that such a vile story should be brought to the silver screen. Over the decades, Stephen's cinema career went on to include a diverse array of subjects and genres. They've included My Beautiful Laundrette, Dangerous Liaisons, The Grifters, Philomena, and Accidental Hero. Now, back in 1987, shortly after Prick Up Your Ears had been released, I had the chance to sit down with a small group of journalists and talk to Stephen about the film and his approach to the story.
But it's true that the thing we were least interested in was whether or not Joe was a genius or, him as a writer. It didn't seem to... It neither seemed terribly interesting, nor did we actually know quite how to show it. I mean,
so you're saying that it's an allegory? That the film is an allegory?
I'm not saying it's an allegory. I'm just saying it's not quite what... the things that I think it's about are slightly deflected. I mean, what's complicated is this question. You make films about real people, and there's a sort of expectation that you are expected to satisfy on some sort of documentary level. But we were also making a love story. I mean, it's supposed to be romantic and violins playing, and it ends in death, and it's a story of passion. So I suppose it's many things, and what's good is when you get a subject that lends itself to being about many things, and not just about one thing.
But there didn't seem to be much passion in the relationship at all. In fact, quite the opposite.
Well, there was enough passion to cause him to kill him. I mean, isn't that passion? I mean, I don't mean...
I think it was just frustration and anger.
Well, that's a form of passion. I mean, that you don't behave like that. I mean, it wasn't dispassionate. He didn't kill him to earn money or anything like that. No. I mean, he wasn't a hitman.
No.
I mean, he killed him out of feelings bursting out. I mean, of course it wasn't...
Actually, I think he killed him, as you portrayed it. I think he killed him for theft. Grand theft. Joe Orton stole Halliwell's life.
Yes, but I see what you're saying, but that's still somebody in an incredible sort of rage.
Maybe it was the ending of passion.
Yes, it was still a passionate action. I mean, it wasn't murder for any. I mean, it was a crime passionnel.
Did you feel when reading the script that it's going to turn to be so funny?
The what?
That it turns to be so funny.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
Was it intentional?
Yes, no.
Did you collaborate in the script? You was Alan
Bennett?
No,
Alan wrote it. I mean, he writes them, and then he would give it to me to read, and I'd say, "Oh, this is jolly good," or "I don't like that bit," and so you'd evolve it. But he's a very, very good writer, and I didn't sit at his shoulder or anything like that. But I would say when we were filming, I'd say, "I don't think this bit works, and what about this and this and this?" Very straightforward.
Do young people in England know about Orton, or is he more or less forgotten?
No. When Sex Pistols, when was that? 77, 76? Sex Pistols came out of a clothes shop, out of a boutique in King's Road, and they made a T-shirt, and it said "Things we like and things we don't like," and Joe Orton was on the list of things they like.
So did he come back, sort of? There was a comeback,
He's very much a sort of hero to the punk.
Yes, but not before that.
I mean,
what happened, you see, about that time was that the biography came out.
Oh.
So people didn't really know about his secret life. I mean, they knew that he was a comic writer, and that he was sort of, he was a mischievous troublemaker. But nobody knew all that sort of secret life.
So his biography came in 76.
I can't remember the exact dates.
But about that time. Yeah.
But it was sort of, first of all, it was his death, and then it was the biography that made him famous.
To those of you who would say, or those who've seen the film who would say to you, it's nothing but a grubby little story that really doesn't go anywhere particularly except down, what would you say?
Well, I think you could make that film. I don't think we've made that film. But I mean, it's a very depressing story about two men living in a room. And we could have made a film like that. I mean, I don't think we have, because we've made it about other things. Because we've made it about marriage. And in fact, related it to conventional marriages, straight marriage, call them whatever you like.
Yes, you have put in the wife.
Yes, that's right.
She's not necessary for the story.
Well, he's necessary to give the information and to supply a framework which... You have to be given information at certain times, and you need some sort of device.
Oh yes, but you want to say something with her character about...
Well, there's a sort of echo of the relationships have things in common.
Yes.
And John, when he was writing the book, I know, saw it very much in that way. He saw the parallel between his own marriage and Orton and Halliwell. I mean, I think that the reason why we invented all of that superstructure and did it the way we did it was precisely to stop it being what you say.
I'm not saying...
Now, whether we succeeded or not...
I can see that people will respond to it in that way.
No one's responded yet, but... Or only the extreme right. There was an attack in the right-wing press the other day, saying it was an evil film rather than a squalid film. It's about two men living in a room.
What was initially, going right back to the beginning for you, what was the fascination, the genesis of the idea to bring it to film?
Well, it wasn't so much like that. I mean, what happened is that the guy who was writing the book came to us and said, look, I'm writing this book about this extraordinary material, would you like to make a film of it? And, you read material like that and, your eyes are out on stalks. Well, that's what you dream about, that's what you long for. I mean, that's what it must have been like filming The Godfather, it's what you want. So it doesn't half help when you have that reaction. But there are lots of things about it. I mean, I knew the period very well. I come from the same town as Joe, actually. And I understand about that British liking for sort of reticence and secrecy and going underground. That seems to be a very English quality. And I like the idea of making a film about somebody who was that sort of anarchic, subversive. And the story actually just seemed to be tremendously resonant and actually not... I mean, it goes back to your previous thing. The fact is you took a story that was ostensibly a squalid story about two men in a room, and actually when you started to follow up the echoes, it went all over the place. And that's, it's now become sort of enshrined in English life, the story of this man's life. And it's like a huge national joke. And everybody understands it, and people somehow know that it was somehow grander, and it was more grand than squalid in some way. However, threadbare the circumstances, that it nevertheless had this sort of comic side to it, which sort of made the whole thing quite magnificent in a way. That's all.
Had you always liked his plays?
Yes. I mean, like being the operative word. I mean, I don't know if they're works of genius or anything like that, but I remember loving it. I loved Sloane when I first saw it. It seemed very fresh.
Physically, was he very much like the actor who played?
No, he was stockier. He was like sort of like a labourer. Just tougher.
So the bodybuilding was a key part to it.
Well, that was more to do with his narcissism. No, I just mean he was... I can't see anyone, but I mean he just had a thicker neck and built more like that. Gary's rather a thin chap, and Gary is more vulnerable. Joe was more invulnerable. I mean, he was a right bastard, really. I mean, it was very complicated because people would say, "Oh, he was the most wonderful. Oh, he was a wonderful bloke. Oh, he was wonderful." And then you'd read the diaries, and the diaries are terrible things, terrible documents. But he was very good-looking and charming, and all the women used to fancy him.
Were there worse things in the diaries than you showed in the film?
Oh, much worse. Well, they're colder and they're very detached, very accurate, truthful sort of merciless accounts.
Was he a sexual obsessive?
Oh, obviously, yes. I mean, he loved it all that. He couldn't get enough of it.
But there's a point where you indulge in it and you like it, but you go beyond that, and it really controls your life.
He loved all of that. I mean, he just wanted more. He just wanted more. Yes, no. He loved all of it. Well, it wasn't that. You were trying to actually create. We were trying to sort of create the ambiguity of the character, that you could take the same actions, and they were both funny and charming and heartless. Like, for example, when he buys the wig for Halliwell, and it's very nice and kind, but it's also ghastly. So we were more concerned with finding examples of that, rather than showing that he was so dreadful. Also, it's complicated because it's hard. I mean, it's the problem of making films about writers. I mean, that was all we ever did. They spent about 6 weeks researching, and they would just go and talk to them. And then I'd meet them about once a week, and they'd tell me what they'd been doing. Well, you see, John, it was like a sort of race. And John, when we started, John knew everything, and then by the time we started, I sort of had learned more or less everything, and we had to get them up to the same position. Which they did. And everyone's, but I mean, there were lots of people who knew them, anyone would talk, everyone was very helpful.
But you've spoken to his relatives?
I suppose, yes, while we were filming, the sister came down. The sister and the brother came down.
What did they think about the film?
I don't think Leonie's seen it. I think she's seeing it in 2 weeks' time. She'll say he didn't really go to those lavatories. I don't believe he went to the lavatories. Or else she'll say it was Kenneth who corrupted him. You see, it was Kenneth who seduced him. They blame Kenneth for everything.
Stephen is now 84 and still working. His latest project is a film about director Billy Wilder titled Wilder and Me, an adaptation by Christopher Hampton of the novel Mr. Wilder and Me. It stars Christoph Waltz as Wilder and John Hamm as William Holden.